Accel missed out on investments in Google, Amazon, eBay, and Yahoo, but rebounded in a big way with early stakes in Facebook and Groupon. Now Accel is one of the hottest VC firms in the Valley, having just completed a $1.3 billion fund, the IDG Accel China Fund. Our next guest, Ping Li, is very involved in scoping out opportunities in Asia. He's also an expert in social, mobile, and gaming. Ping, welcome to Bloomberg West.
Yeah, great to be here.
So your colleague, Richard Wong, was actually on here and said that you're only as good as your last set of deals. So you had big successes with Facebook and Groupon, but what's your strategy in terms of finding the next Facebook, the next Groupon?
Well, for us, we always look for innovative trends and platforms that are still emerging. So for us right now, there's obviously a lot of activity around the social platforms, but I think the mobile platform is actually in the early innings. If you look at what's going on with Apple and Android, those platforms are only 3+ years old, so we're spending a lot of time looking at the mobile space. In addition, we're also looking a lot abroad. Geographically, we have offices in Europe, India, and also China. And as you mentioned earlier, we just raised a significant China fund this past few months.
So what kind of opportunities are you looking for in China? There's a lot of Chinese clones,
right,
as they're called, popping up all over the place. How do you separate the wheat from the chaff?
Well, I think, Emily, it's a good question, because in China right now, a lot of the energy is around the consumer phenomenon. There's an explosion of disposable income in China. There's a growing middle class that's wanting services and new products. So for us, we're looking at trends that actually appeal to the mainstream Chinese consumer population. So a lot of the areas that we're looking at is around the social economy, is around the internet side and the mobile side, where they're getting broad-based adoption.
There are risks, though, to doing business in China. Unreliable internet data, fraud concerns. What do you think are the biggest challenges in doing business there?
I think a lot of the biggest challenges is transparency. So I think the regulatory environment there is one that's always constantly evolving, constantly moving around. So having the ability to kind of have the relationships and understanding of how the government is going to treat startups and how they're going to treat venture capital investments and how they're going to treat exit markets, I think is going to be a key criteria for us.
What about RenRen? You invested in a company that RenRen bought, the Facebook of China.
Right.
It's now down 30% since it IPO'd.
Right.
Is that a big red flag?
Well, I think the RenRen IPO is an indication of the appetite for Chinese investments. I think a lot of Western investors and also Chinese domestic investors are looking to tap into the internet growth you're seeing in China. And RenRen is just one of many companies in this past year that's gone public. I don't think it's a red flag in the sense that RenRen's stock performance, but I think there's questions around, can China maintain its growth at its current rate? And also, are the valuations keeping up or getting ahead of the growth in China?
Now, you're also an investor in Rovio, the maker of Angry Birds.
Right.
Zynga is set to file for an IPO now before the end of June. What's your take on the mobile, social, traditional gaming landscape?
I can't think of a more exciting time in the gaming space. Anytime there's a new platform, whether it's Facebook or the mobile phone, there creates new opportunities for new games to get created. I think Zynga did a fantastic job, as well as Playfish and other gaming companies, in tapping the Facebook platform to build new games. And I think Rovio obviously has clearly figured out how to use the mobile platform between the touch screen on the iPhone and Google Android to build some world-class games. So I think those are early signs of innovation that are going to continue. I think in the mobile platform, Rovio is the beginning of a lot more interesting gaming companies.
Are there any companies you're invested in right now that you think could be the next Facebook or the next Groupon or as big?
Yeah, well, it's hard to choose among our portfolio. We love them all. I think they're all playing in different areas and different spaces. I think there's a lot of companies that are in the enterprise space and the cloud computing space that are doing very interesting things. I think on the mobile side, companies like Lookout are really pioneering the mobile security space, which I think will be huge. I think Cloudera on the big data side is really changing the way the entire enterprise and consumers process large-scale data. So I think there's a lot of companies in lots of different sectors that are doing interesting things.
And you're on the board of Lookout, the mobile phone security company. How important is smartphone security going to be? I mean, we've seen a number of hack attacks, Sony especially a major target. How important is it to protect yourself from those kinds of things?
Emily, I think it's critical. If you think of the mobile phone, it's much more than a phone now. These are devices that you're using for mobile banking, you're using it to consume different types of media. So I think they become more of a computing platform and something that you carry every day of your life. And I think that's becoming very vulnerable to attacks, something to be protecting.
What about the second markets? How are they making your job more difficult, or are they making your job more difficult with these rising valuations going up, and up? Though, in terms of Facebook and Groupon, you've benefited from that.
Sure. I think the secondary market phenomenon obviously has been in the press a lot, been talked about quite a bit. But if I think about it, it's actually limited to only a few select group of companies. It's not like the secondary market phenomenon is able to be accessed by most companies.
But aren't valuations going up at earlier stages too?
They are. Valuations are expanding throughout the cycle from the seed stage to early stage to growth stage. And I think that's a reflection of people's excitement around a lot of the areas of innovation. For us, it's always segmenting what's forward priced and what's overpriced, right? And that's the trick.
Ping Li, partner at Accel, thanks so much for joining us. Great to hear your insights, especially about China. Incredibly hot and growing internet market out there.
We're very excited. Thanks, Emily.